Okay, we can get all three of you panelists involved in this question because we want to talk about the state of radio here in our city. First of all, a bit of history. Okay, so we know a little bit about all of you, but let's be honest. Moving companies love you guys. Why is that, Tim?
Well, ask Tim how long he was at, when we were all at CJ, how long you were there
So this will be my third time in Calgary, and the second time was I sat down, had a cup of coffee, and then called the moving company again, and back west I went.
Come on.
Yeah, it's part of the job. I mean, you know, some people move
more than others.
More than others.
Zach,
Why? Hey,
have you moved too?
It's been a lot. It's been across Canada. You go across Canada once and say you'll never do it again, and then you go back.
Yeah.
And that's something you learn as well, because when you say, I will never do what I just did again, you end up doing it again. So the next time you do it again, you don't say that you will never do it
Sometimes
again.
you're powerless in those situations.
Well, there is that situation as well.
Sometimes you're voluntold. It's true.
Bob, some of those reasons too can be, yes, you're powerless because things happen at radio stations, as we all know, but also there's opportunity.
Yep.
Are you guys always looking for those opportunities? Are your employers
You hope
listening
that
right
they're
now?
looking for us.
There you go.
Actually.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good answer.
You
Wow, that was very good.
Did you guys have in mind that you wanted to be in a certain place, like a Toronto, like a Calgary?
Well, years ago, I think, yeah, but Calgary was sort of it for me. The opportunity to go to Toronto and Vancouver, they've all presented themselves, but I think Calgary's, for me, has been most welcoming and home.
I went to the Toronto thing, and it was never a goal of mine to work in Toronto. But once I got there, I loved it. But it was sure nice to come back home.
Yeah, I bet.
But think about all the experiences that you've had going across the country. Those are a lot of experiences that some people will never have, seeing those small little towns and learning so much about those small little towns as well.
I think the biggest hurdle for me was accepting a position in Montreal, and I'm a Western Canadian kid, and my French is not particularly good, and sort of jumping right into a city like Montreal, which is second biggest city in the country, but very it's a French culture, and that learning curve was incredible. And to your point about experience, it made me realize how much more you can open your eyes when you live in different parts of this country, because it's so big and so different.
Well, streets in Montreal are, like, some of them are French and some of them are English, the way you pronounce them.
They are.
And that's incredible. I got offered to go there at one point too, and I got there and you go do the interview and in the taxi, and one street is pronounced French and the next one is pronounced English, and I was like, no, I'm going to embarrass the radio station. I can't do this.
Why get into the business? What was your motivation? For me, when I started in the business, I remember listening. I grew up in Vancouver, the LG Morning Zoo. Dean Hill and the LG Morning Zoo, and I love the little behind-the-scenes kind of aspect of it. You guys?
I think it's the same for all of us. I mean, when we were growing up, obviously, we heard something we liked and thought, you know, it'd be kind of cool to be part of that. For me, it was CKXL.
There you go.
In Calgary here, growing up, much like you, Phoenix, with the LG thing. Yeah. And, you know, I think there was no bigger rush that when I got to work at CKXL in 84 and 85. Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I fell into radio. I was not that typical guy who had, you know, like newspaper clippings on the wall or whatever of your favorite radio people. I always thought radio played terrible music. So I really did. I mean, I was sort of a pop guy in the 80s, and there was only rock stations and country stations. And so until the 90s came along, when Top 40 really started to hit harder on FM, and then that's when I was like, well, you know, these guys play bad music. Maybe there's something you can do there. Maybe you can make it be better. Yeah, I don't know if I've made it any better or not.
You know what I find interesting is the four of us all worked under the same roof at different times. Some of us the same times.
Same time. Well, and then competed against each other in multiple markets too.
But not competed in the physical sense. I mean, it's interesting about competition as well too. You guys we all kind of know each other. It's not like we're out there, Tim, you know, Phoenix, you know, Bob, you know, we don't do that. It's just we do our own thing. We do our own shit.
At least not to your faces.
We save it for Twitter. We save it for Twitter.
Well, that's right. I'm tweeting it out right now. That Tim, I don't know.
Well, we look forward to seeing each other after we were all in Calgary, and then we went away. You went back to Vancouver, and we were in Southern Ontario. Bob and I were in two rock stations side by side, And then, so we'd go on location, you go do those things, and that's when we get to see each other. A little monopoly on Nintendo.
Oh, look at these two rock stations next to each other.
Yeah, right across each other.
It's got a history. It's all right, you know.
Well, you know, we talk about that too, and even in the TV business, how small this world is.
Oh yeah.
Closely knit.
I think you work with somebody almost at every single station, or you went to school, or met them. Yeah, it's a tight little circle.
Or eventually we'll work for them.
Well, you never know. That's right.
Yeah, what some people don't realize, the same thing when I was in Dawson Creek, we had multiple radio stations under one roof. And yes, you show up at the same spot and they think you're competing with each other, but they didn't realize that you're actually the same company. And they switch on our talent throughout the day. So if they only listen to one station, they didn't know that the other guy was actually on the same station.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You know, there are low moments and high moments in our careers, whether it be in radio and television, whatever it be. The high moments, you guys are working in major markets. Some low moments. Tim, a low moment for you.
Getting let go.
Just pick one. Yeah.
Just pick one.
Where's that bottle?
Yeah.
Getting let go. And I grew up in Vancouver, similar to you. Dean Hill, LG Morning Zoo, all that stuff. That was one of that show and that radio station was a big influence for me. And getting back to Vancouver was always a big goal. And I did it, and it was going great for the first 2 years. The third year was not particularly great, and then the fourth year was, well, I better go traveling for 6 months. And
Jeez, eh?
yeah, so it wasn't much fun, but it was, I think a lot of people in the radio business will say that that once you have that experience, you are just that much more, I think, of a tougher, more resilient broadcaster.
Are you tougher, Bob?
Oh, yeah. I
Are
got
you?
a thick skin, sure.
Yeah.
I would say my low moment would, you know, I worked in Edmonton twice. The first time quite successfully, the second time not so much. It was 3 months in and out, and you know, it's kind of difficult when you're going to kind of uproot your life and your family, even from Calgary, which is down
and the family too.
Yeah, you know, so much like Tim, I guess, you know, getting canned would have been
One of those low moments.
one of those low moments.
But you find a way, though, Zach, to go from those low moments, and you find something about yourself to say,
Oh, don't pick on Zach.
why not? what is it? How do you pull yourself out of that?
Well, I think that starvation and no home, actually, is a good reason to find another job. But you just kind of forge forward and decide what you want to do and where you want to go, and did you want to be there anyway? You know, it's always easy. You just blame your old boss. You feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
I still do.
Yeah, man, I know.
Sometimes you just can't control it.
But there was a point for me when I was let go and I thought, do I want to keep doing this? I was still pretty young. I actually wanted to get into, I wanted to take carpentry, and
You're right. You think about it.
and I think about it, and then I was working in a warehouse, and I thought to myself as I was pulling up for my Sunday 6 a.m. shift to begin, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I think I really love radio. And it was a kind of a moment of clarity, and I realized that this is what I love to do, what I want to do, and I don't care where I have to do it, just because it might not be in Vancouver.
We all need those moments.
Yes, those low moments, because they make you realize that what you really want and what you really want to do.
And they are doing it very, very well. More with these three great afternoon personalities here for Calgary.